Okay, so now we'll understand the categorization of observations. Now, there are two ways to understand what are different approaches to observe. First, we'll categorize on the basis of whether the researcher is present in the community and participating in the natural setting itself without disturbing or affecting what others are doing. So he or she is in the field, they are participating with the community in, for example, in any form of ritual or in their day to day activity, and that the researcher has volunteered to choose and has disclosed to the entire community that I'm living with you like a member of the community. So that becomes one categorization of seeing or of seeing observation, which is called as participant observation. So in this case, it's the most used form, and when it's conducted, you also are involved in conducting the ethnography. So approach of doing ethnography and approach of participant observation quite overlaps, right? It is sustained, intensive, extended, or a broad range. The term participant observation was first used by Edward Linderman in his publication titled Social Dictionary. So there is where he used the term, and after that, a very pioneer work by Malinowski across the community of Trobriand Islanders in his publications, which was titled Argonauts of the Western Pacific. Very important question from your UGC net, and not many. It's like one of the pioneer work and one of the pioneer researcher in when you are going to read about ethnographies or participant or social anthropology for that matter, right? So this work is quite pioneer, so keep on the tips what was the name of the community and what was the name of the publication and who was the author, definitely, right? So his work is quite pioneering, and the trend, and like it was a trendsetter, okay, and the trend is still continuing. In participant observation, the researcher gets first hand experience of the people and their culture under study. So experience as in he or she is experiencing it, he or she is participating in it, and therefore they have gained that experience by being a researcher as well as by being a member of the community. The researcher tends to live with the people, eat with them, also participates in every activity that is happening as a person belonging to that culture. The pro of this sort of approach is that the next person with whom the researcher is involved, or the entire community with the researcher is involved into, it builds a strong rapport, it builds a strong trust connection, and therefore the other person or the community itself is quite comfortable in opening up their issues, opening up themselves to talk according to the theme of the research. But apart from that, like if it's an ethnographic account, a detailed account definitely comes out. In fact, like if you go on the first day of your field, you will see people are quite conscious and they're not quite open to what you are asking and what they're trying to tell. They're hesitant of giving a detailed information, because you are not the member of the family, you are not the member of the community, and they don't know you at all. So rapport building and therefore participant observation serves like a good combination to get into a good research and take out a very detailed account of the community with any objective for that matter. This also helps the observer to gain a greater depth about the social phenomena and also to gather extensive data, right? So multiple facets does come out when you are into the field and when you are participating or living with the community. Lot many facets do become clear. Nevertheless, one should be cautious. Now, cons of it, there are problems of bias and reactivity. Now, sometimes what happens is, like even with my own field work, I can relate to, if at all there is something you are involved into like with whole heart, you think that it's your own, and in terms of being there, participating there, you do get involved in normal day-to-day fights, or you react to people, or there is some you know your thought process and your act are actually like others. Then, like, after a few months, after a few weeks, you gain that form of understanding, and you feel that belongingness with the community, so you react because of few things that bothers you. Now you are individually as a researcher, here you are also a member of the community, so both the things cannot go overlapping. You have to make you have to know where you have to segregate the two. Also, especially in terms of writing, there do comes the problem of biasness, like ethnocentrism and all these things needs to be taken care of while you're writing the observations, because an outsider's understanding is lot way different from when a person is an insider, and a person who was an outsider and has changed his or her perception towards the community, and now he or she thinks that it's his or her own. So that gives biasness in their understanding also, especially in their writing work. So when they're going to write the ethnography, it will definitely come as a bias. Again, since the researcher is so involved with the community and people being studied, chances are that the objectivity might be lost in the process. Now, deviation definitely is one of the cons of being a participant researcher. As the researcher is a participant in the activities and events being observed, it is easy to influence others' people behavior, thereby raising the problem of reactivity influencing what is being observed. Right? So this is the participant observation. The other form is quasi-participant observation, wherein researcher is doing a mix of participant and non-participant. The third form is non-participant, wherein the person or the researcher is not at all involved in the activities or day-to-day life of the community, but he or she is merely observing, and this observation also has an objective. This observation has already built a rapport. Building rapport is different from participating with the community, right? So that rapport is built, that confirmation or that trust has been gained from the people, and now some ritual is happening, but you are not involved in that. You are sitting quite far away, or you are sitting away from where the ritual is happening, and you are merely observing the things with an objective. That's it. Okay, so this is what is non-participant observation. But a quasi-participant observation is a mix of two, wherein when necessary or when you feel like as a researcher you involved in the activity, otherwise you are observing with the non-participant observation approach. Fine. Now the other way of so this talks a lot about instances, and many anthropologists resort into this practice, as only a quasi-participant observation give the observer perform both the roles of the observer as well as of the observed, instead of disguising himself completely from the people. Therefore, this technique can avoid the demerits of participant observation, since it's always possible for a researcher to take part and also to withdraw himself or herself. Fine. So this is about first approach of studying observation. The second approach is based on conducting the observation. So if it's a structured one or a controlled one, or if it's unstructured and uncontrolled observation. How do they vary? According to Srivastava, in structured or controlled observation, the frequency of occurrence of peculiar features of a particular thing is counted. So let's say we have a checklist, and based on that we have few 4-5 goals that okay, this has to be observed, and your analysis of the research is entirely based on these 4 parameters, let's say. Now in front of you there are a lot of things happening. Out of that, you do not have to observe each and every single thing. No, you have a checklist. You see your checklist or a guide. Okay, so this serves as a guide and a checklist as well. So you have questions, so you have things that are noted down, and based on that you observe only the selective thing. So it's a structured observation where you know what you're doing, and out of that only your analysis will be there, right? This kind of observation is carried out according to a definite pre-arranged plan, which also include considerable experimental process. Thus it is difficult to make an objective study and keep the observation free from biases and prejudices. It is normally difficult and also ethically wrong to impose a control over the people or the phenomena in anthropological field research. Generally, these controls are imposed on the observer. So therefore, if they are having a guide or a checklist, the observer have to be having a precise idea of what he or she is going to do on the field, what they're going to observe, and what is the exact information that they want. So therefore the data that they collect is quite reliable and undiluted. Fine. So this is what is structured. Unstructured may, you are simply recording what is actually happening on the field. Okay, it's you have an objective. Now for example, that day the previous previous video says that you are trying to observe the shift in the dressing style of women in one given tribal community based on the account that you have already studied. So what has over the period of time changed in their dressing style? So you're trying to observe that. Now for that, you know what exactly are you saying here. So for example, if you want to note down the dressing style, especially in a marriage ritual or say death ritual or say day-to-day life, now you have a checklist of which all phenomenon you are actually wanting to see that dynamic shift, right? Also depending on जो पुराना classic account we are referring to, उसमें किस किस पे हमारा मतलब description दिया हुआ है already, and only that we are seeing the shift of. ठीक है, मतलब जैसे लेट्स सपोज किसी रिसर्चर ने 1980s में स्टडी करी थी और उस अकाउंट बेस पे आपको मैरिज और डेथ रिचुअल के दो वे ऑफ ड्रेसिंग स्टाइल ऑफ विमेन ऑफ गिवन ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी इज़ वेरी मच डिपिक्टेड. बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट से बर्थ रिचुअल, देयर आर मेनी अदर रिचुअल्स, राइट? सो उन सब के डिस्क्रिप्टिव अकाउंट नहीं है. तो in your objective it is only going to be marriage and death ritual because you are comparing the shift based on that particular account. Fine. So अगर वो ही दो mentioned है, beyond that we cannot go. Okay, so जब हम observe करने जाएंगे we'll be seeing only 2 rituals on the field. Structured के according we'll see only 2, एक तो marriage और एक death. उसमें what is the way of ड्रेसिंग. अब वे ऑफ ड्रेसिंग में भी अलग अलग आता है कि दी अपर बॉडी, लोअर बॉडी, ज्वेलरी एंड वॉट नॉट थिंग्स, राइट? सो यू हैव अ प्रॉपर स्ट्रक्चर रिगार्डिंग दैट. ऑन द अदर हैंड, व्हेन यू आर सेइंग यू वांट टू ऑब्जर्व द ड्रेसिंग स्टाइल एंड देयर इज़ नो कंपैरिजन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू 20 years 30 years पुराना कोई मोनोग्राफ या एथनोग्राफिक अकाउंट, सो यू सिंपली गो, you simply observe, you start observing whatever is coming in front of you. Now that is unstructured. You have an objective of what you have to observe, but you do not have a checklist of how you have to observe. Getting the difference? So how is basically setting up whether it's structured or unstructured. You are simply going, recording what is coming in front of you, and then you are, and it's again in a natural setting. So it's a form of observation which is made in the natural environment without being influenced by any external factor, or it is not predetermined. Most of the information about any social phenomenon are gathered through randomly observing the natural environment or normal and routine activities of the people. Here the observer do not have any list of items to be observed. The socio-cultural anthropologist mostly indulges in collecting information by randomly observing certain social situations. However, this often leads to loss of focus and wasting of long duration of time and meaningful result. This does happen because sometimes you have extra information, you have extra prolonged field work just because you're not satisfied with you are not feeling like data is saturated, sort of. So that happens. Okay, so this is about observations, different forms of observations, different approaches of conducting the observation. Fine.